that both EA and Take-Two, which is 2K, have had continued internal conversations about a college basketball game.
Ooh, basketball games might be returning. Oh my goodness. I remember playing 2K8. No, I meant college football. Was it college football? It was college basketball. Was it 2K8? It was something like that. That was the title. I had so much fun. Like that was my game, to be honest with you. This was probably even before I was playing the college football games that I was playing this. Man, oh man, bruh. To play with Carolina in the Final Four, get the champion. Oh my goodness. Please, please. Oh, we got college football back. That right there lets me know anything is possible. If we get college basketball, oh my goodness, this is gonna be so good. So cannot wait to hop into this. Let's see what Eric Wayweather says. Shout out to him for these videos. I will leave the original video in the pinned comment of this video. Without further ado, let's get into it. Come on, I'm ready.
So we just got a bit of very interesting news as it pertains to a possible college basketball game returning. Now I know on this channel it's almost always football gaming content like
Yeah, that's facts, but college basketball has got a special place in my heart.
This video in particular was something I should do because I get a lot of comments on this channel about the possibility of a college basketball game coming back one day, especially with college football coming back this year. There's been a lot of comments and a lot of questions as to, whether or not this could be possible in the future. And before today, I would have said it was a very, very small possibility, but now it actually looks like it's a bigger possibility than we thought. So I'm going to talk about everything you need to know really quickly. But if you are new to the channel and you never want to miss out on any updates as it pertains to football gaming or any future developments with a college basketball game, which I will cover on this channel because I do think it's a big deal, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on so you don't miss out on any important videos.
Yeah, shout out to Eric.
With the success of EA
Go ahead and
Sports,
subscribe to him and subscribe to me.
People started to assume that maybe we could see a company take a shot at a basketball game again. Now,
we all hate ads, that's a fact. The real question is, why don't you have an ad blocker yet? The internet is so overrun with ads.
Now, back in the day, the basketball games did not sell nearly as well as the football game did.
Not even close. It's a lot of people that don't even know there was a college basketball game.
Away because they just weren't selling enough, but also there were multiple people making games, so there wasn't a lot of profit to go around when you had multiple games out. So that kind of played a hand in it.
Oh, it was EA that made
with College Ball 25 coming back this year and absolutely shattering expectations.
I thought it was 2K.
It makes sense that companies would think that, hey, there is
some. It did amazing. Even Madden 25 did amazing.
After all, gaming
despite what YouTube says.
15 years ago, college basketball is bigger. College sports in general are bigger. There's more sports gamers out there than there were before, so it all kind of makes sense. But
especially women's basketball. Back then, you did not know pretty much anybody from at least college standpoint.
Numerous times on this channel over the years, as he's broken stories for various games. He's provided leaks for games like Madden and college football. He's provided insights on things before they happen, and he's pretty knowledgeable and usually right when he says something. Now, what he said a little bit ago is that multiple sources have told him that both EA and Take-Two, which is 2K, have had continued internal conversations about a college basketball game. Unknown how far along talks are, but there are groups within both companies pushing heavily for it. Now, I know that that's not the craziest report in the world.
It's not, but it's a good sign.
But just the fact that they are heavily pushing for it from within means that there's a decent chance this could be something.
Yeah, it could happen.
Because up until recently, as far as I had heard from people I talked to, and even Mike Straw himself and other journalists had come out months ago and said, as far as everybody knows, this isn't really a talking point right now. It's not something that's being considered. The people I've talked to over the past year, from what I've gathered, it hasn't really been something that was a consideration. Now it's kind of being
pushed. Look how good this looks, bro. It still looks good to this day.
The success of the college football game. Now I'm going to break down exactly why I think this has a good chance to happen and kind of how the landscape of things have changed, especially recently, that makes me think that this is going to happen in just a moment. Now, really quickly, I want to let you know about today's video sponsor, Underdog. Did you know that you can win up to 1,000 times your money by just simply picking higher or lower football. Now, once again, let's be real here. A college basketball game is not going to do near as well as a college
Yeah, not
football
even
game would.
close.
You know, college
But
football is
it
much bigger than
still
college
are
basketball.
people
And back in the day, the
that
college basketball
loved
games went
college
away
basketball.
before the college football games went away because the sales just weren't really that good. Whereas the college football games eventually had to go away because of the lawsuits and things like that. However, we have
I just gotta say this right quick. I remember college, like seeing the college basketball. I think it was for PlayStation 3. And it was on sale for like, I want to say maybe $9 at the most. I got that. Wasn't sure how it was going to be, but I just fell in love with it, especially the halftime. I don't know why, but the halftime thing just felt right. Like you see them walk into the locker room, they're like, yeah, yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go. And then you get the little report. It was just so like, I don't know, it was just a different time, you know what I mean? And I do feel like if they do bring it back, it's not gonna get the fanfare, obviously, that college football got, but you will get some people, some diehards that are college basketball fans and that have wanted a new game that be like, yeah, me, North Carolina, oh my goodness gracious. My boy Baycock, boy, if I could play with Baycock and Davis and boy.
to now also keep in mind that the NFL is also way bigger than college football, but this year, at least so far, college football has
And
surpassed
it
and I
didn't
think
it didn't
officially
used to
is
be
the
like that.
best-selling sports game of all time. Now, I'll be the first to say
That is
I didn't think that was going to
incredible.
happen. EA didn't think that was going to happen. Industry experts didn't think it was going to happen. I was talking about that.
I did not
months before
even
the game
know
came out.
that is
There's really no way
crazy.
that this game's going to
The
outsell Madden,
biggest
and so
sports
far it
game
has. Now, will
ever.
that change with the months to come? Probably not, because if college football is already the best-selling sports game ever, which surpassed
It's
2K21 for
crazy.
NBA, which was the previous best-selling sports game, if you could believe that or not. The fact that it is the best of all time, I don't really think Madden's really going to play catch-up to that in the back half of the year, even though they do get a lot of sales at Christmas. I think college football is kind of far enough in the lead, and I was definitely wrong about that. EA was wrong about that. They had, their expectations for what they thought the game could do based on the past and just based on knowing their audience and, who buys games and just the market out there, because as a company,
Especially because
investing all
college
the money and
football
time
is
into
not
making that game, you have to know realistically what your
as
return on
big
investment is. If it's not good enough, then you're
for
not going to
other
invest into
in other
making the
countries.
product. And they had, I guess a
I
pretty
mean,
reasonable
at
goal,
all.
and they just blew past it. I think they even blew past it on like opening night. It was just kind of unprecedented. So
Yeah, I think
they were
this
wrong.
year
Industry
report about
experts were wrong. I think a
opening
lot of
night, that
people
was
just
like
maybe
a crazy
underestimated,
amount.
just how many people were going to return to gaming this year just for the college football game, right? A lot of nostalgia. I don't think the following games are going to sell as well as this one did because it's the first game back, but I think everybody just kind of underestimated just how many people would return to this game, and also maybe the amount of people that would take a break from Madden. Also, I believe the other thing that kind of throws this off a little bit is because they did have the MVP bundle, which I was assuming would count towards both game sales, but I think they count that as like its own separate game. So you have College Football 25, Madden 25, and then
Oh
you've got the
yeah, I
MVP
think
is like
they
additional to its
have done
own
that in the
game. So
past,
I was thinking
like
with
the
that,
bundle
especially
things
that was
and
going to
other
bolster up Madden sales. But if
genres
they're
of
counting that
games.
as its own separate thing, that kind of throws things off a little bit as well. However, regardless, college football blew past expectations for EA and everybody that was involved. So seeing that makes them think, well, if this blew past expectations, then a college basketball game would probably do so as well. Even though
Yeah,
the
it could.
expectations would be even
Smaller
for that game,
scale,
even though they
but
know it wouldn't sell as good
it
as the
could.
college football game, it would probably surpass what they thought it was possible. And now that's why they're talking about it, especially when you factor in Ultimate Team and things like that, because even though a lot of people said, well, Ultimate Team is
Oh
more of a Madden thing,
yeah.
a lot of people do play Ultimate Team in college football. It's actually pretty active. So they have like, that avenue to make extra
Yeah,
money
but
that way.
yeah.
The same thing would happen.
So I want to say this about people that complain about the Ultimate Team being in like college football and stuff like that, because I have seen that floating around. You're still gonna play it. It's the same thing with Madden is all about it's just a money grab, money grab. Well, yeah, of course it is, because you're playing a money grab game mode. There are offline game modes in Madden. Just stop complaining. Why are you complaining but still putting money into it? I don't get it. Like I never understood that. Like people always microtransactions. Oh, they just well hell yeah, cause you keep on paying for it. That's business 101. Stop paying for it. If you don't like something, why do you continue to do it? Never understood that.
In a college basketball game as well. So the landscape has kind of changed with having microtransactions, but also there's more sports gamers. The sports themselves are getting bigger, and college basketball honestly is getting a lot bigger than I think
incredibly
people think.
huge.
And the other side of this, why I think a game is possible, is because not only could you do men's college basketball, but you could add women to the game as well, just like with NBA 2K.
And I ain't gonna lie to you, you can actually have a women's separate basketball game. That's how big women's basketball is.
Popular every year, both in the NCAA and the WNBA. Now, is it on par with the men's? No, but ironically enough, in the NBA, the ratings are the worst they've been in a long time. Man,
I don't want to pause too much, but ratings-wise, if I'm not mistaken, women's college basketball has taken over men's. Like, was it last year before? It was like the biggest, like the championship game. I think it was the LSU and Iowa game. It was like it broke a record for like viewers or something like that. It was something just crazy. So and this year, from what I've been seeing, it's the same. Like it's grown even more. I mean, cause you look up, you not even really worried about the guys. You like, yo, hey, South Carolina got beat. Who did get beat by? Oh, I ain't gonna lie, UNC on that come up, ain't they? Oh, we got what's the name over here? Watkins, from USC. She done broke some type of record. It's just like, you know what I mean? It's one of those this year, especially this year.
Asking, what is going
Then
on?
you got Paige from UConn.
Well, everybody plays kind of similar. It's very analytical. It's a lot of threes. You don't really have the new stars replacing kind of the hype of the old stars that are phasing out, like LeBron and Curry. You've got great young players like Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, Victor Wembanyama, but they're not quite replacing that same hype that the last mega stars had. So that's part of it. But everybody plays the same. Whereas with the WNBA, while it's nowhere near as popular as the NBA, it's gaining popularity every year, and a lot of people are starting to like it because they feel like the basketball, it's a little bit more pure. Not everybody's playing the exact same, and now you're having the women's.
And
like
I've always said this: women's basketball to me is more basketball than guys.
So I think when you factor in the fact that NBA is kind of trending down, at least right now, college sports trending up, women's basketball trending up. Not only do you have a men's college basketball game, but you can do something that you couldn't do 15 years ago, which is include the women, which would probably equal more sales as well, and it's just kind of a different element to the game that we didn't have.
We all have a job to do. You make Riley happy, sadness makes her sad, fear protects her from the scary stuff she can see, and
Now, if you also factor in that NBA 2K is kind of in a current state where Madden has been for years. Now, I do think 2K does offer more to do in a game when you consider the city and the
the game modes are more in
depth. They obviously
depth.
still have a lot of problems. There's problems within all their modes. There's a big microtransaction problem. A lot of people are growing tired of the city and things like that. However, the game still does offer more than Madden does as a whole, but they still get a lot of backlash and bad reviews, kind of like how Madden has recently, and a lot of people are kind of taking a step backwards, and they're saying, both when it comes to Madden and 2K, just make a good football game, just make a good basketball game. We want to play basketball. We want to play football. We don't want all the extra stuff. We want it to be how it was back in the day. Yeah, there was a kind of an era where with the extra stuff like a city and, some of the extra little things you put in the game, people were enjoying, but it's kind of seemed like people want to take that step back and say, like, just make the best playing basketball or best playing football game possible. And when you look at the college football game, that's kind of what they did, right? Like, obviously it has its flaws, but it's a much better playing football game than Madden. It's more fun to play, and it just feels a little bit more pure. And then when you look at NBA 2K kind of being in that same vein, a college basketball game returning, and especially if it was made by EA versus 2K, would probably cause a lot of excitement because a lot of people view 2K the way people view Madden, where it's like, we just want a new game or a new company to make a game. Now, both companies are trying to make a game here if this happens. I don't think we're going to get both companies making a game, because at that point, then you get to the point where there might not be a lot of profit to be made. Now, who's the better person to make the game? I mean, it depends on who you ask. If you ask NBA 2K fans, they're going to say they want EA to make it because they're tired of playing 2K basketball. They don't like where it's gone, and they feel like a college basketball game would just be the same as NBA 2K. But then if you ask, people on the Madden side of things, they're going to say, well, I would rather 2K because, 2K was better than NBA Live, for most of its existence. And when people look back on the best college basketball game, most people...
Even though I did have fun with NBA Live, the last one.
Versus
I
March
was
Madness
really good in
2010
that.
or March Madness 2005, whichever one you prefer. So I think it would be more likely for 2K to make it because I think they're just better positioned to make it. They already have an active NBA game. They have more of a jumping off point. EA probably has somewhat of a jumping off point because the last NBA Live was about 5 years ago, so it's not too old and too outdated, so they probably can kind of pick up where that left off a little bit. But 2K is undoubtedly better positioned to make a game, but then you have to factor in that EA is probably better positioned with the NCAA and with colleges because they are actively making college
that's
sports games.
right.
They have relationships with all of these schools and these conferences and things like that.
That's
So
a good one
really,
that I
who
didn't
make
even
the
think
game,
about.
it's kind of a toss-up. They would both probably be very hungry to be the publisher to make it, but they both kind of have advantages and disadvantages in that area. But I just think when you see how great the college football game performed, how passionate the college fans are, and how many people have been actively asking for a return of college basketball the same way they asked for the return of college football, the same way they've been asking for a return of Fight Night. I think even though, yes, some of these games might not do as big of a numbers as other sports
I don't think
titles
I've ever
will,
played
there's
Fight
still
Night.
enough money to be made there that now these companies are realizing maybe we should be doing this. Now, it's obviously very early, and, how much money would they invest into this? I don't know because they would have to really be okay with the fact that it would not be nearly as well of a selling of a game as an NBA 2K
The college
or
atmosphere
college
is just
football or
something
Madden,
different.
but I think there's still room for them to make money and kind of, please the fans out there by returning to this game. So I'll let you know if we get any updates on this, but the fact that there's already talks and people are heavily pushing for this to happen, I think that's a good sign that in a few years we could see the return of college basketball video games. Now, there's also been another very big development as it pertains to the college football.
I already watched that one, but I did not know they was in talks. Obviously, that doesn't mean anything's going to happen, but that's a first step to any game, well, to anything really. But gaming wise, that's the first step. You gotta talk it. Then next step, concept. All right, so how we want to do this, how we want to do this, how we want the players to look. You gotta get those ideas, flowing. But that's good that they're like thinking about it and actively trying to like pushing it. You know what I mean? But I did not know that college football was the best selling sports game ever. I mean, that is incredible. And it was a lot of people that was saying, "Oh, college football is going to do good, but it ain't gonna sell like that." Nobody in their right mind knew college football was gonna sell like that. Of course, obviously, it's been 10 years before college football 25 came out. So it was a lot of people that wasn't even born yet when the last college football game was out. So yeah. And I was in like middle school, early middle school, more than likely. No, I might be in elementary. Either late elementary or early middle school when the last college football game was released. Before this one, obviously. So it's been a minute, man. I feel old now. Oh my goodness. But that's gonna do it for me, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy this reaction. Love you guys and see you guys in the next one.